The pregnancy test showed 2 pink lines, and I should have been happy. Instead, I was bent over the toilet in my sister's guest bathroom, throwing up what little breakfast I'd managed to keep down. "Violet, you okay in there?" Mia's voice carried through the door, tight with anticipation. I wiped my mouth and opened the door, holding up the test. "Congratulations, you're going to be a mom." Mia's face crumpled, and she pulled me into a hug so fierce I could barely breathe. "Thank you," she whispered against my shoulder. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." My name is Violet, and 3 months ago, I'd made what I thought was the most generous decision of my life. My older sister, Mia, had been trying to get pregnant for 6 years. 6 years of failed IVF cycles, miscarriages, and watching her marriage to Carl slowly crack under the pressure. When the doctors finally told her that her uterus couldn't carry a pregnancy to term, she'd sobbed in my arms for hours. "I could do it," I'd said that night, the words tumbling out before I could stop them. "I could carry the baby for you." Now, 12 weeks later, I was officially pregnant with my sister's child, and the morning sickness was kicking my ass. "How are you feeling?" Carl appeared in the hallway, his smile not quite reaching his eyes. "Any better today?" "Like I've been hit by a truck," I said, accepting the ginger tea Mia pressed into my hands. "But the doctor says it should ease up soon." "You're being so brave about this," Mia said, settling beside me on the couch. "I know it can't be easy." I squeezed her hand. "It's worth it. You're going to be an amazing mom." Something flickered across Carl's face, but it was gone so quickly I almost missed it. Almost. The doorbell rang, and Mia jumped up. "That'll be Aurora and Mom. I invited them over to share the news." My stomach dropped. Not from morning sickness this time. Aurora breezed in first, all glossy hair and designer clothes, followed by our mother Regina, who was already critiquing the state of Mia's living room. "The throw pillows are crooked, dear," Mom said, straightening them with sharp, efficient movements. "And when was the last time you dusted?" "Mom, we have news," Mia said, practically vibrating with excitement. Aurora flopped into the armchair across from me, her eyes immediately going to my still flat stomach. "Let me guess, the surrogate thing worked?" The way she said surrogate thing made my skin crawl, but I kept my mouth shut. "Violet's pregnant," Mia announced. 12 weeks! Mom's face lit up with the first genuine smile I'd seen from her in months. "Oh, how wonderful! Our first grandchild." "Well, technically it's Mia and Carl's first child," I said carefully. Aurora snorted. "Same difference. It's not like you're keeping it." The room went quiet. Carl cleared his throat. "What Aurora means," he said slowly, "is that we're all just so grateful for what you're doing." But Aurora wasn't done. "I just think it's weird, that's all. Like, what if you get attached? What if you decide you want to keep it?" "Aurora!" Mia snapped. "I'm just saying what everyone's thinking," Aurora shot back. "It's not natural." "What's not natural," I said, my voice steady despite the anger building in my chest, "is a sister who can't be happy for her family." Aurora's cheeks flushed. "I am happy. I just think—" "Nobody cares what you think," Mia interrupted, but there was something off about her tone, like she was performing rather than feeling. Mom stepped in with her usual diplomatic efficiency. "Girls, let's not spoil this beautiful moment with bickering. Violet, you're doing something incredibly selfless. We're all proud of you." But as the afternoon wore on, I noticed things. The way Carl kept checking his phone. How Aurora's eyes followed him whenever he moved. The strange tension between Mia and Carl that hadn't been there before. When I excused myself to use the bathroom again, pregnancy bladder was no joke, I heard Aurora's voice from the kitchen. "I still think this whole thing is going to blow up in everyone's faces." "Keep your voice down," Carl hissed. "I'm just saying, what if she changes her mind? What if—" "She won't," Mia said firmly. "Violet always does the right thing. She's the reliable one, remember? The reliable one." The family fixer, the one who always put everyone else first. I stared at myself in the bathroom mirror, one hand instinctively moving to my stomach. For the first time since this whole thing started, a tiny voice in the back of my head whispered a question I didn't want to hear. What if I was making a huge mistake? The first red flag should have been when Mia missed my 16-week appointment. "I'm so sorry," she texted that morning. "Carl has a work emergency, and I need to handle some things at home. Can you record the heartbeat for me?" I sat alone in the waiting room, watching other couples hold hands and flip through baby magazines. When Dr. Martinez called my name, I walked into that ultrasound room by myself, listening to my niece or nephew's heartbeat echo through empty space. "Everything looks perfect," Dr. Martinez said, moving the wand across my growing belly. "Would you like to know the sex?" "I should wait for the parents," I said automatically. She nodded, but I caught the look she gave me. The same look I'd been getting from everyone lately, like I was some kind of saint, or maybe a martyr. 2 weeks later, Mia missed another appointment. This time, Aurora showed up instead. "Mia's not feeling well," she explained, settling into the chair beside the examination table. "She asked me to come." "Since when do you care about doctor's appointments?" I asked. Aurora shrugged. "Since I'm going to be an aunt. I want to be involved." But something felt off about the way she said it. Too casual? Too practiced? Dr. Martinez came in and started the routine checkup. Aurora leaned forward when the heartbeat filled the room, her hand moving to her throat in a gesture I'd seen her make since we were kids. She only did it when she was nervous. "The baby's measuring perfectly," Dr. Martinez said. "Are we ready to find out the sex today?" I looked at Aurora. "Should we wait for Mia?" "She said to go ahead," Aurora said quickly. "She trusts your judgment." "It's a girl," Dr. Martinez announced. Aurora's face went white, then pink, then she burst into tears. "Aurora, what's wrong?" "Nothing," she sobbed. "It's just a girl. That's so beautiful." But these weren't happy tears. These were the ugly, desperate tears Aurora cried when she didn't get something she wanted. After the appointment, I cornered her in the parking lot. "What's really going on?" "Nothing's going on." She fumbled with her car keys, not meeting my eyes. "You've been to more of my appointments than Mia has. You're asking weird questions about custody and birth certificates. And now you're crying because the baby's a girl?" Aurora's hand stilled. "You wouldn't understand." "Try me." She looked up then, and for a second, I saw something raw and desperate in her face. "Do you ever think about what it would be like if she was yours? She's not mine, Aurora. She's Mia's. But what if—" Aurora stopped herself. "Never mind." "What if what?" "Nothing. Forget I said anything." But I couldn't forget, especially not when I got home and found 3 missed calls from Mom. "Violet, honey, we need to talk," Mom said when I called back. "Can you come over for dinner tomorrow?" "What's this about?" "Just family things. Nothing to worry about." Nothing to worry about. Right. The next evening, I walked into my parents' dining room to find everyone already seated. Mia, Carl, Aurora, Mom, and Dad, like some kind of intervention. "Sit down, sweetheart," Mom said, patting the empty chair beside her. I remained standing. "What's going on?" Dad cleared his throat. "We wanted to discuss some practical matters. About the baby." "What kind of practical matters?" Carl leaned forward. "Well, we've been thinking about logistics. After the birth, I mean. Mia and I want to make sure the transition is as smooth as possible." "Transition?" "From you to us," Mia said softly. "We know it might be difficult." I looked around the table. Everyone was staring at me with the same expression. Pity mixed with expectation. "We think it would be best," Mom continued, "if you maybe took some time away after the delivery. A little vacation, perhaps. Let Mia and Carl bond with the baby without any complications." "Complications?" Emotional complications, Dad clarified. It's natural that you might feel attached. We just want to make sure everyone's on the same page about boundaries. The room went silent. I could hear the grandfather clock ticking in the hallway, the sound of Aurora's nervous breathing. So you want me to disappear? I said finally. Not disappear, Carl said quickly. Just step back. Let us be parents. I was never trying to be her parent. We know that, Mia said, but sometimes these situations get complicated. We've read about surrogates who change their minds, who try to claim parental rights. I would never do that. We know you wouldn't, Aurora said, speaking for the first time. But it's better to be safe, right? Something cold settled in my stomach. Safe from what exactly? Nobody answered. I looked at each of their faces, my parents, my sisters, my brother-in-law, the people who were supposed to love me unconditionally. I think I should go, I said. Violet, don't be dramatic, Mom sighed. We're just trying to plan ahead. But as I walked to my car, Aurora's voice followed me. It's for the best, Vi. Trust me. Trust her. Right. The text from Mia came at 7 in the morning when I was 24 weeks pregnant. Can you meet us for lunch today? Important baby stuff to discuss. Noon at Rosario's. Us, not just Mia. I should have known then. I waddled into the restaurant, my hand supporting my lower back, and spotted them immediately. Mia, Carl, and Aurora, sitting at a corner booth like they were conducting business. Which, I guess they were. You look great, Mia said as I slid into the seat across from them. Pregnancy suits you. Thanks. I flagged down the waitress. What did you want to discuss? The three of them exchanged glances. Carl cleared his throat. We have some news, he said. Good news, I hope. Another look passed between them. Aurora was fidgeting with her napkin, tearing it into small pieces. Mia and I are getting divorced, Carl said. The words hit me like a physical blow. What? When? Why didn't anyone tell me? We're telling you now, Mia said quietly. But the baby, that's what we need to discuss, Carl interrupted. The situation has evolved. I looked at Mia. Her face was pale, her eyes red-rimmed. Mia, what's going on? Carl and I, she started, then stopped. We've grown apart. The fertility struggles, the stress, it broke us. But you're having a baby. Your baby. Doesn't that change things? It's complicated, Aurora said. How is Aurora involved in this conversation? The silence stretched too long. Carl reached across the table and took Aurora's hand. My blood turned to ice. No, I whispered. Violet, Aurora started. No, 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 no. I tried to stand up, but my belly made it awkward. Tell me this isn't what I think it is. Carl and I fell in love, Aurora said, her chin lifting defiantly. It wasn't planned. It just happened. It just happened? My voice cracked. He's married to our sister. Was married, Carl corrected. The divorce papers were filed yesterday. I turned to Mia. And you're okay with this? Mia's laugh was bitter. Do I look okay with this? Then why? Because I don't have a choice, Mia snapped. Because they've been having an affair for months. Because my husband decided he'd rather be with my baby's sister. Mia, please, Aurora said. Don't make this harder than it has to be. Harder than it has to be? Mia's voice rose. You slept with my husband. Ladies, please, Carl said, glancing around the restaurant. Let's keep this civil. I stared at him. Civil? You want civil? We know this is a shock, he continued, but we need to discuss the baby. What about the baby? Aurora leaned forward. Carl and I want to raise her together. As a family. The restaurant seemed to tilt. You want what? Think about it logically, Carl said. Aurora and I are together now. We're young. We're in love. We can provide a stable home. She's not your baby, Aurora. Biologically, she's Carl's, Aurora shot back. and I'll love her like my own. She's Mia's baby. Mia's the one who went through years of fertility treatments. Mia's the one who wanted this child. Mia can't take care of a baby right now, Carl said. She's having a breakdown. She's not stable. I looked at Mia, who was staring at her untouched salad. Mia, say something. What's the point? Mia whispered. They've already decided. We haven't decided anything without you, Aurora said. That's why we're here. We want to do this right. Do what right? The transition, Carl said. When the baby's born, instead of going to Mia, she'll come home with Aurora and me. I couldn't breathe. You're insane. We're being practical, Aurora said. I'll be her stepmother anyway. This way, she grows up in a stable, two-parent home from a day one. What about Mia? Mia will always be her biological mother, Carl said. She can have visitation. Visitation? Mia's head snapped up. Visitation with my own daughter? Our daughter, Carl corrected. Biologically speaking. I can't listen to this. I started to get up again. Sit down, Violet. The voice came from behind me. I turned to see my mother approaching the table, my father trailing behind her. Mom, what are you doing here? We asked them to come, Aurora said. We thought you might need family support. Mom slid into the booth beside me, effectively trapping me. Dad took the chair at the end of the table. Now, Mom said, let's discuss this like adults. There's nothing to discuss, I said. This is insane. What's insane, Dad said, is tearing this family apart over pride. Pride? Carl and Aurora are in love, Mom continued. These things happen. The important thing is what's best for the baby. What's best for the baby is going to her actual mother. Mia isn't in any condition to raise a child, Dad said firmly. Look at her. We all looked at Mia, who seemed to shrink under our gaze. She'll get better, I said desperately. Maybe, Mom said, but Aurora and Carl are ready now. They're stable, they're committed to each other, and they want this child. They want to steal this child. Nobody's stealing anything, Carl said. We're trying to find the best solution for everyone. The best solution is for you to stay married to Mia and raise the baby you both wanted. That ship has sailed, Aurora said coldly. I looked around the table at these people, my family, the people who were supposed to protect me, and realized I was completely alone. So what? I said finally. You all just expect me to hand over this baby to the people who destroyed my sister's marriage? We expect you to do what's right, Dad said. For the family, Mom added. I placed both hands on my belly, feeling the baby kick against my palms. And if I refuse? The silence was deafening. Finally, Carl smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. I drove straight to Tessa's office after leaving the restaurant. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely grip the steering wheel. Violet? Tessa looked up from her desk as I burst through her door. What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost. I need to see the contract, I said. The surrogacy contract, now. Tessa's expression shifted from concern to alarm. What happened? Just get the contract, please. She pulled out a thick file folder and spread the documents across her desk. Talk to me, Vi. What's going on? I told her everything. The affair, the divorce, Carl and Aurora's demand, my parents' betrayal. Tessa's face grew darker with every word. Those bastards, she said when I finished. They planned this whole thing. What do you mean? Think about it. Carl starts pulling away from appointments right when Aurora starts showing up more. Your family suddenly wants to discuss boundaries. This isn't coincidence, Vi. This is orchestrated. I sank into the chair across from her desk. They're really going to try to take her, aren't they? Over my dead body. Tessa flipped through the contract pages. Remember when we drafted this? You insisted on some very specific clauses. I barely remember. I was so focused on helping Mia. Here. Tessa stabbed her finger at a paragraph halfway down page 7. Section 12C. You were adamant about this one. I leaned forward to read. The legal language was dense, but one phrase jumped out at me. In the event of marital dissolution, fraud, coercion, or breach of good faith by the intended parents. What does it mean? It means, Tessa said, her voice taking on the sharp edge it got in court, that if Carl and Mia divorce, or if anyone tries to coerce you, or if they act in bad faith, custody defaults to you, not them, you. My heart stopped. Are you serious? Dead serious. You have full legal rights to this baby if they breach the contract. And honey, what they did today, that's textbook coercion. But Carl's the biological father. Doesn't matter. He signed away his rights in the event of a breach. They all did. Mia, Carl, even your parents as witnesses. I stared at the contract. I don't remember this clause. You were very specific about it. You said, and I quote, "What if something goes wrong? What if they change their minds or try to screw me over?" You made me put in every protection I could think of. And it's legally binding? Ironclad, I made sure of that, Tessa grinned. You want to know the best part? They can't contest it. Carl's signature is right there, acknowledging that any attempt to coerce you or change the terms voids their parental rights. My phone buzzed. A text from Aurora. Hope you're thinking about what we discussed. This could be easy or hard. Your choice. I showed Tessa the message. Screenshot that, she said immediately. That's evidence of coercion. What do I do now? Nothing. Let them keep digging their own graves. Tessa leaned back in her chair. How badly do you want to make them pay for this? What do you mean? I mean, you hold all the cards here. You could give them exactly what they deserve. Another text, this time from Carl. We know this is difficult, but fighting us will only hurt everyone. Think about what's best for the baby. Then one from Mom. Don't be stubborn, Violet. Family is family. They're all texting me, I said, showing Tessa the messages. Perfect. Keep them coming. Tessa pulled out a legal pad. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to play along for now. Let them think they're winning. I don't understand. The more they push, the more evidence we collect. Every text, every threat, every attempt to coerce you strengthens our case. When the time comes, we'll have everything we need. When what time comes? Tessa's smile was predatory. When you decide to keep the baby. My breath caught. I can't keep her. She's Mia's. She's yours if you want her. Legally, morally, every way that matters. They broke the contract the second Carl decided to leave Mia for Aurora. But I never wanted to be a mother. Then don't be. You have options. You could place her for adoption with the family you choose. You could work out a custody arrangement with Mia if she gets her act together. Hell, you could give her to your neighbor if you wanted. The point is, it's your choice, not theirs. My phone rang. Mia's name flashed on the screen. Answer it, Tessa said. Put it on speaker. Violet? Mia's voice was thick with tears. Please don't make this harder than it has to be. I'm not making anything hard, Mia. Carl says you're being difficult about the baby. Carl says a lot of things. Please. I know this is messed up, but Aurora and Carl, they're good together. And I can't handle a baby right now. I can barely handle myself. So you want me to just hand her over to the people who destroyed your marriage? I want you to do what's best for everyone. What about what's best for me, Mia? Silence. Mia? Just, please don't fight them on this. They'll make it ugly if you do. The line went dead. Tessa was already typing on her laptop. That sounded like a threat to me. She's scared. She should be. They all should be. Tessa looked up from her screen. So what's it going to be, Vi? Are you going to let them walk all over you? Or are you going to fight back? I looked down at my belly, feeling the baby move restlessly inside me, like she could sense the tension. What would fighting back look like? It would look like justice, Tessa said. It would look like consequences. It would look like them learning that you're not just some incubator they can push around. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Aurora. We're all family here. Let's not make this complicated. I screenshot the message and sent it to Tessa. Not complicated at all, I said. When do we start? The harassment started 3 days later. I was at the grocery store when Aurora cornered me in the cereal aisle, her voice loud enough for other shoppers to hear. I can't believe you're being so selfish about this, she said, blocking my cart with her body. That baby deserves a real family. Move, Aurora. Carl and I can give her everything. Stability, love, a proper home. What can you give her? You're single. You work all the time. You don't even want kids. An elderly woman nearby stopped pretending to read nutrition labels and started openly staring. I said, move. Think about what's best for her, not what's best for your ego. I pushed my cart around her and headed for the checkout, but Aurora followed, her voice carrying across the store. You're going to ruin that little girl's life because you can't handle the truth. The cashier looked uncomfortable as she rang up my groceries. Aurora stood behind me, arms crossed, making sure everyone could see the pregnant woman being confronted by her concerned sister. When I got home, there were 6 missed calls from Mom and a voicemail that made my blood boil. Violet, honey, Aurora told me about your little scene at the store. People are talking. This isn't good for any of us. Call me back so we can fix this. Fix this, like I was the problem. The next morning, Carl showed up at my office. We need to talk, he said, settling into the chair across from my desk without being invited. I'm working. This won't take long. He pulled out a manila envelope. I had my lawyer draw up some papers. What kind of papers? A revised custody agreement. Very generous terms. We'll cover all your medical expenses, plus a substantial thank you payment for your time and effort. I didn't touch the envelope. How substantial? $50,000. You're trying to buy my baby. I'm trying to compensate you fairly for an incredible service. Carl leaned forward. Look, Violet, we both know this situation isn't ideal, but Aurora and I are committed to each other and to this child. We can provide stability, financial security. Get out of my office. Don't be hasty. Read the papers first. Get out. Carl stood slowly. You're making a mistake. We're trying to be reasonable here, but there are other ways to handle this. Is that a threat? It's a reality check. He left the envelope on my desk. You have 48 hours to consider our offer. I called Tessa immediately. He did what? She said when I told her about Carl's visit. Offered me $50,000 to sign away my rights. That's bribery. And the threat about other ways to handle it? That's intimidation. I could hear her typing furiously. This keeps getting better. They're building our case for us. That evening, Bennett called. Bennett was the family friend who'd known us since we were kids, the one person who usually stayed neutral in family drama. Vi, I need to ask you something, and I want you to be honest with me. Okay. Are you planning to keep this baby? Why is everyone asking me that? Because your parents are worried. They think you've gotten too attached, that you're not thinking clearly. Did they ask you to call me? Bennett sighed. They're concerned about the family. This whole situation with Carl and Aurora. It's messy, but it doesn't have to tear everyone apart. Carl and Aurora tore the family apart when they started sleeping together. That's between them and Mia. But this baby, she could be what brings everyone back together. By giving her to the people who destroyed my sister's marriage. By doing what's best for the child. Carl's her biological father. Aurora loves her already. And Mia's not in a good place right now. So everyone just gets what they want except Mia and me? Sometimes being the bigger person means making sacrifices. I hung up on him. The next day, Mom showed up at my apartment with Dad in tow. We need to have a serious conversation, she said, pushing past me into the living room. About what? About your attitude, Dad said. About the way you're handling this situation. You mean the way I'm not rolling over and doing exactly what Carl and Aurora want? We mean the way you're being selfish, Mom snapped. That baby isn't yours, Violet. You're just the vessel. The word hit me like a slap. Vessel? You know what I mean. No, I don't think I do. Explain it to me. Dad stepped forward. What your mother means is that you agreed to carry this child for Mia and Carl. The fact that their marriage didn't work out doesn't change your obligation. My obligation is to the contract I signed. And according to that contract, you're supposed to hand over the baby when she's born, Mom interrupted. Not hold her hostage because you're upset about Carl and Aurora. I'm not holding anyone hostage. Then what do you call this? Dad pulled out his phone and showed me a screenshot. Aurora posted this on Facebook. It was a photo of Aurora and Carl at a baby store looking at cribs. The caption read, "Getting ready for our little miracle. Some family members are making this journey more difficult than it needs to be, but love will prevail." Blessed family. New beginnings. She's posting about my pregnancy on social media. She's excited about becoming a mother, Mom said, which is more than I can say for you. I never wanted to be a mother. Then stop acting like one. Dad's voice boomed through my small apartment. Stop pretending this baby is yours when we all know she isn't. The silence that followed was deafening. My neighbors probably heard every word. Get out, I said quietly. Violet, Mom started. Get out of my apartment. Now. They left, but not before Dad turned back at the door. You have until the weekend to come to your senses. After that, we're going to have to consider other options. What other options? But they were already gone. I called Tessa, my hands shaking as I dialed. They're escalating, I told her. Good, she said. Let them. The more desperate they get, the more mistakes they'll make. What if they try to take her when she's born? What if they have lawyers waiting at the hospital? Then we'll be ready for them. Trust me, Vi. We've got this. But as I hung up the phone and looked around my empty apartment, I wondered if I was strong enough for what was coming. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Last chance to do this the easy way. I screenshot it and sent it to Tessa. Then I put my hand on my belly and whispered, Hold on, baby girl. This is going to get ugly. The ambush happened on a Saturday morning when I was 32 weeks pregnant. I was making breakfast when someone pounded on my door like they were trying to break it down. I opened it to find Carl holding an official-looking envelope with Aurora, Mom, and Dad flanking him like backup singers. We need to come in, Carl said, pushing past me before I could object. Excuse me? Sit down, Violet, Mom commanded, pointing to my couch. We have something important to discuss. I'm not sitting down in my own apartment because you tell me to. Dad stepped forward. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. Make what harder? Carl opened the envelope and pulled out a thick stack of papers. These are legal documents. A court order requiring you to surrender the child upon birth. My legs went weak. What? We filed a petition with the family court, Aurora said, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. We had to, Vi. You left us no choice. You can't do that. We can and we did, Carl said. I'm the biological father. I have rights. So does Mia. Mia signed a waiver, Mom said quietly. She's relinquishing her parental rights to Aurora. The room spun. She did what? She knows what's best for the baby, Dad said, even if you don't. I grabbed my phone and called Mia. It went straight to voicemail. Where is she? Getting the help she needs, Aurora said. She checked herself into a facility yesterday. For her mental health. You had her committed? She committed herself, Carl corrected, after she realized she wasn't capable of being a mother right now. This is insane. I tried calling Tessa, but it was Saturday morning and she didn't answer. Read the papers, Violet, Carl said, thrusting them at me. It's all legal, all binding. I scanned the documents, but the legal language was swimming before my eyes. I need my lawyer. Your lawyer can't help you now, Aurora said. This is a done deal. The hell it is! I grabbed my keys. I'm calling Tessa. Sit down! Dad's voice boomed through the apartment. You're not going anywhere until we settle this. You can't keep me here. We're not keeping you anywhere, Mom said. We're trying to help you understand reality. Carl sat down at my kitchen table and spread out more papers. Here's what's going to happen. When you go into labor, you'll call us immediately. We'll meet you at the hospital. After the birth, Aurora and I will take the baby home. You'll have no further contact. And if I refuse, then we'll have you declared an unfit guardian, Aurora said. We have documentation of your erratic behavior, your threats, your refusal to cooperate with the intended parents. What threats? Carl pulled out his phone. You told me to get out of your office. You hung up on Bennett. You've been hostile and uncooperative throughout this entire process. I've been defending myself. You've been acting unstable, Mom said. People are worried about you, honey, about your mental state. My mental state? Pregnancy hormones can cause serious psychological issues, Aurora added, especially in older mothers. I'm 33, which is considered a geriatric pregnancy, Carl said. The stress of carrying a child at your age, combined with your obvious attachment issues. I don't have attachment issues. Then why are you fighting so hard to keep a baby that isn't yours? Dad asked. The question hung in the air. They all stared at me, waiting for an answer that would prove their point. Because it's wrong, I said finally. What you're doing is wrong. What's wrong, Aurora said, is a single woman with no maternal instincts trying to keep a child from her loving family. I am her family. You're the surrogate, Carl said coldly. Nothing more. My phone rang. Tessa's name flashed on the screen. Don't answer that, Mom warned. I answered it anyway. Tessa? Vi, thank God. I got your messages. Where are you? At home. They're all here. They have papers. Carl lunged for my phone, but I stepped back. What kind of papers? Tessa's voice was sharp. Court orders. They say they can take the baby. Put me on speaker, Tessa commanded. I hit the speaker button. You're on. Listen carefully, all of you. Tessa's voice filled the room. Whatever papers you think you have, they're worthless. We have a court order, Carl said. You have toilet paper. I'm looking at the original surrogacy contract right now. Section 12C specifically states that any attempt to coerce the surrogate or breach the terms of the agreement voids all parental rights. That's not legally binding, Aurora said, but her voice was shaky. Want to bet? Carl, you signed this contract. You acknowledged that coercion would void your rights. Every text message, every threat, every attempt to intimidate Violet has been documented. The room went silent. Furthermore, Tessa continued, any court order obtained through fraud or misrepresentation is invalid. Did you tell the judge about the affair? About the divorce? About the systematic harassment of the surrogate? Carl's face went white. I thought not. Violet, don't sign anything. Don't agree to anything. I'm on my way over. Tessa, Carl started. Save it. You want a legal battle? You've got one, but I guarantee you won't like how it ends. The line went dead. Aurora looked at Carl. You said this would work. It will work, he said, but he didn't sound convinced anymore. No, I said, standing up straighter. It won't, because I know something you don't. What? Mom asked. I smiled for the first time in weeks. I know exactly what that contract says, and I know that every single thing you've done in the past month has violated it. You're bluffing, Aurora said. Am I? Carl, remember when you offered me $50,000? That's bribery. Aurora, remember your Facebook post about family members making things difficult? That's public harassment. Mom, Dad, remember when you told me I was just a vessel? That's coercion. Their faces told me everything I needed to know. Get out of my apartment, I said. All of you. Violet? Mom started. Get out! They filed out silently, Carl clutching his worthless papers. As the door closed behind them, I put my hand on my belly. Don't worry, baby girl, I whispered. Mama's got this handled. Tessa arrived 20 minutes later with a briefcase and a predatory smile. Time to end this, she said, spreading documents across my coffee table. I've been busy. What do you mean? I mean, I've compiled everything. Every text, every voicemail, every witness statement. Your family just handed us the perfect case. She pulled out her laptop. But first, we're going public. Public? Social media. If Aurora wants to play the public sympathy game, let's give her a real show. Tessa's fingers flew across the keyboard. I'm posting the timeline of their affair, the harassment, the attempted bribery, all of it. Is that legal? Everything I'm posting is documented fact. Carl and Aurora made this public when they started their Facebook campaign. Now they get to deal with the consequences. My phone started buzzing immediately. Notifications from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Tessa had tagged everyone. Carl, Aurora, my parents, even some of their friends and coworkers. Tessa, what did you do? She turned the laptop toward me. The post was titled, When Family Betrays You, a Surrogate Story, and it laid out everything. The affair, the demands, the harassment, the fake court orders, screenshots of every threatening text, every manipulative voicemail. This is going to explode, I said. That's the point. They wanted to control the narrative. Now they get to explain themselves to everyone they know. My phone rang. Aurora's name flashed on the screen. Answer it, Tessa said. Put it on speaker. What the hell did you do? Aurora screamed before I could say hello. I told the truth. You posted private family business online. You're destroying us. You destroyed yourselves when you decided to have an affair and steal my baby. She's not your baby. Actually, she is. Tessa leaned toward the phone. Hi, Aurora. This is Tessa, Violet's attorney. I just wanted to let you know that as of this morning, Violet has full legal custody of the child you've been harassing her about. That's impossible. Read your contract, Section 12C. You voided your rights the moment you started threatening her. The line went quiet, except for Aurora's heavy breathing. Carl! She screamed away from the phone. Carl, get in here. Is there something else you needed, Aurora? Tessa asked sweetly. You can't do this. We'll fight you in court. With what? Your fake court orders? Your documented harassment? Your admission of adultery? Tessa laughed. Please do. I'd love the billable hours. Aurora hung up. That felt good, I said. It's about to feel better. Look at your phone. The notifications were pouring in. Comments, shares, messages of support. People were furious on my behalf. Oh my God, I said, scrolling through the responses. Carl's boss commented. What did he say? This is extremely disappointing behavior from someone in a position of trust. I kept scrolling. Aurora's friends are turning on her. Look at this. I can't believe you would do this to your own sister. My phone rang again. This time it was Carl. Violet, we need to talk, he said, his voice tight with barely controlled rage. I think we've talked enough. You've destroyed my career, my reputation. Aurora's beside herself. Good. This isn't over. Actually, it is. Tessa took the phone. Carl, this is Tessa again. I want you to listen very carefully. If you contact my client again, if you come near her, if you so much as drive past her apartment, I will have you arrested for harassment. Are we clear? You can't. I can, and I will. You've already violated a restraining order that doesn't exist yet. Don't make me get a real one. She hung up and handed me back the phone. A restraining order that doesn't exist yet? Legal intimidation. Sometimes the threat is more effective than the actual paperwork. Tessa grinned. Besides, after today's evidence, getting a real one would be easy. My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. Family dinner Sunday. We need to fix this. I showed it to Tessa. Are you going? Hell no. Good. Let them stew in their own mess for a while. Another notification popped up. Someone had shared Tessa's post in a local Facebook group. Then another share, and another. "This is going viral," I said. "Local viral, but yes. Carl and Aurora are about to become the most hated couple in town." My phone rang. Bennett's name appeared. "I should probably take this." "Vi?" Bennett sounded tired. "I just saw the Facebook post." "And? Is it true? All of it?" "Every word." Bennett sighed heavily. "I'm so sorry. I had no idea it was this bad. You told me to be the bigger person. I was wrong. What they did, it's unforgivable. Thank you for saying that. What can I do to help?" I looked at Tessa, who was monitoring the social media explosion on her laptop. "Just be there when the baby comes. I'm going to need people I can trust." "Of course." "Vi?" "Yeah?" "For what it's worth, I think you're going to be an amazing mother." After I hung up, Tessa looked up from her screen. "You know what the best part is?" she said. "What?" "They did this to themselves. Every single consequence they're facing right now is because of choices they made. The affair, the harassment, the threats, all of it. Karma, justice. There's a difference." Tessa closed her laptop. "Karma is random. Justice is earned." My phone buzzed again. This time it was a message from someone I didn't recognize. "Saw your story online. You're so brave for standing up to them. That baby is lucky to have you." Then another. "Team Violet all the way. Your family should be ashamed." And another. "As a mother, I'm disgusted by what your sister and brother-in-law did. You're doing the right thing." "Look at this," I said, showing Tessa the messages. "The court of public opinion has spoken," she said. "Carl and Aurora are officially pariahs. What happens now? Now you get ready to be a mom, and they get to live with the consequences of trying to steal a baby from someone who trusted them." I put my hand on my belly, feeling the baby kick. "Did you hear that, little one? You're safe now. No one's taking you away from Mama." For the first time in months, I actually believed it. The contraction started at 3 in the morning on a Tuesday. I called Tessa first, then Bennett, then my doctor. I didn't call my family. "You sure about this?" Tessa asked as she drove me to the hospital. Last chance to let them know. "I'm sure." Bennett met us at the hospital entrance with a wheelchair and a grim expression. "Carl's been calling me all night," he said as we headed to the maternity ward. "He knows you're in labor." "How?" "Aurora's been stalking your social media. She saw your post about the hospital bag." I'd forgotten about that post. A simple photo of my packed bag with the caption, "Ready when you are, baby girl." "Are they coming here?" "Probably. I called security and had them put on the restricted list, but..." "But what?" "Your parents aren't on the list. They could get in." We made it to the delivery room without incident. For the next 6 hours, it was just me, Tessa, Bennett, and the medical staff. No family drama, no demands, no threats. Just the hard work of bringing my daughter into the world. She was perfect. 7 pounds, 2 ounces, with Carl's dark hair and what looked like my stubborn chin. When the nurse placed her in my arms, everything else faded away. "She's beautiful," Tessa whispered. "She's mine," I said, and meant it completely. The peace lasted exactly 2 hours. "There's a situation in the hallway," Dr. Martinez said, poking her head into my room. "Several people claiming to be family, demanding to see the baby." "How many people?" 5. "They're getting loud." I could hear them through the door. Aurora's voice, shrill and demanding. Carl's deeper tone, trying to sound authoritative. Mom's clipped words about family rights. "Let them in," I said. "Vi, are you sure?" Bennett asked. "Let them in. It's time to end this." Tessa nodded to Dr. Martinez, who opened the door. They filed in like a funeral procession. Carl first, his face haggard and desperate. Aurora behind him, her eyes immediately going to the baby in my arms. Mom and Dad bringing up the rear, looking uncomfortable but determined. Mia wasn't with them. Where's Mia? I asked. Still getting help, Mom said stiffly. She's not ready for this. But you are? All of you? Carl stepped forward. Violet, please. Let's not do this here. The baby needs her mother, which is me. You know that's not true, Aurora said, her voice breaking. She's supposed to be mine. We planned for her. We prepared. You planned to steal her from Mia. Mia couldn't handle a baby. So you decided to handle her husband instead? Aurora's face crumpled. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. How was it supposed to happen, Aurora? You sleep with your sister's husband, destroy her marriage, and then take her baby. What part of that was supposed to go well? Carl moved closer to the bed. Can I at least see her? She's my daughter, too. No, she's not. Biologically, you're a sperm donor who voided his parental rights when he decided to harass the surrogate. Tessa stood up from her chair in the corner. Legally, you have no claim to this child. This is ridiculous, Dad said. Violet, you're being vindictive. I'm being a mother. You never wanted to be a mother, Mom snapped. You said so yourself. I never wanted to be a mother to someone else's baby. But she's not someone else's baby anymore. She's mine. The baby stirred in my arms, making soft little sounds. Everyone in the room went quiet, staring at her. What's her name? Aurora whispered. Grace. That's beautiful, she said, tears streaming down her face. Can I hold her? No. Aurora's sob echoed through the room. Carl put his arm around her, but she shrugged him off. This is all your fault, she said to him. If we hadn't... Don't, Carl warned. Don't what? Don't tell the truth? Don't admit that we destroyed everything for nothing? Aurora, stop. No, look at her, Carl. Look at what we lost. Aurora gestured toward me and Grace. We could have been a family. All of us. But you had to. And I had to. And now... She broke down completely, collapsing into the visitor's chair. I think you should all leave, Bennett said quietly. We're not leaving without our granddaughter, Dad said. She's not your granddaughter, I said. Not anymore. You made your choice when you sided with them against me. When you called me a vessel. When you told me to disappear after the birth. We were trying to do what was best. You were trying to do what was easiest. For everyone except me. Mom stepped forward. Violet, please. We're family. Family doesn't treat each other the way you treated me. We can fix this, she said desperately. We can all sit down and work something out. There's nothing to work out. Grace and I are going home together. You're not welcome there. You can't keep us from our granddaughter forever. Watch me. Security appeared in the doorway. Dr. Martinez must have called them. Is there a problem here? The guard asked. These people need to leave, Tessa said. They're not on the approved visitor list. Carl looked at me one last time. This isn't over, Violet. Yes, it is. They filed out. Aurora still sobbing. Mom and Dad looking stunned. Carl's face a mask of barely controlled rage. When the door closed behind them, the room felt lighter. You okay? Bennett asked. I looked down at Grace, who was sleeping peacefully despite the chaos around her. I'm perfect. 3 days later, I was home with Grace, scrolling through Reddit while she napped. The story I'd posted about the whole ordeal had exploded. Thousands of comments, most of them supportive. People sharing their own stories of family betrayal, of standing up to bullies, of choosing themselves over toxic relatives. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Saw your Reddit post. I'm Mia. Can we talk? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, I'm listening. I'm out of the facility. I know what they did, what I let them do. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix anything. I know, but I want to try. Not for the baby. I know she's yours now, but for us. For what we used to be. I looked at Grace, sleeping in her bassinet beside me. My daughter. My choice. My family now. Maybe someday, I typed back. But not today. I put the phone aside and picked up Grace, holding her close as she yawned and stretched. It's just you and me now, baby girl, I whispered, and that's exactly how it should be. Outside, it started to rain, washing the world clean,